Hello, my name is Lennon Davis, and I decided to do Chainsaw Man by Tatsuki Fujimoto for my graphic novel project. It was released in December of 2018 on Weekly Shonen Jump. So, I will only be covering the first part of this story because it's being divided into like separate parts, and the second part is currently unfinished. I'm caught up with it, but it kind of takes a completely tonal shift and explores a lot of different areas that are, in my opinion, completely different from the first part. So I'm also kind of unsure of how I'm supposed to go about this assignment. Truth be told, I probably should have emailed my teacher or my professor and asked, because that's what you should do. I didn't do that. But I've been watching your guys' videos, and I'm under the impression that I am to just share the story and help build an understanding of what I'm doing. So that is exactly what I will be doing, is talking about Chainsaw Man. So, for a little bit of context, again, two different parts. I'm talking about part one. It's a world set like 80s, 90s, somewhere in that area. And there's devils coexisting with us. It's our world, but also with devils. And these devils have powers. It's anything that people fear, which they explain that later. I'll explain that as well. But for an example, people are scared of water. So there is a water devil. And the amount of people that are scared of it dictate how strong it is. So, for example, an apple devil. Someone out in the world is probably scared of an apple. I'm not scared of an apple. A lot of people aren't. So it's kind of weak. I could probably kick it and I'd beat it. I'd win. Whereas there's like the death devil, which is a thing. They haven't talked about it much in the first part, so it's not going to be much of a spoiler. But that devil, strong, super strong. So, getting into the story. Chapter 1. We are introduced to Denji. Denji is a teenage boy. Just straight up. Teenage boy. And he's born to this world, and he's trying to pay for his parents' debt. His mom left, and his dad supposedly killed himself. And so these loan sharks that they pulled their money from now wants their money back. So they're having him do it. And admittedly, they don't expect him to pay it. They are just going to use him for money for as long as they can before he's gone, which they don't expect him to live too long. And he finally looks into hunting devils. He starts hunting devils, and he's making money from it. But, it's a risky job. And one day, he runs into who is later known as Pochita. Pochita is this little dog-looking dude, and he has a chainsaw on his head. And he's scared, he's tiny, seems weak, and like his leg is broken. So Denji takes him in, even though he's poor, he's broke, he's living off of nothing. Takes him in, and they become friends, and it's like, okay, I'm gonna use your tiny little chainsaw head to fight off these devils, and we're gonna work together, and we're gonna live. So they hunt devils, or like they really only show one, but it implies that they hunt multiple. And one day he gets a message from his loan shark, like, hey, I need you to come over to my warehouse. Like, we need to talk. And so he makes his way over with Pochita. Gets there, and something's wrong. They all are kind of like brainless. And out of nowhere, the lights turn on, and it shows that they're connected by like these tentacles. And it's like a devil. I believe it's like a zombie, like infestation takeover devil. And it's controlling them. And it was like, you're so stupid for coming here. We're going to kill you. And he starts fighting and fighting and fighting. And, it's all of his goonies, all of that. All of them are fighting him. And so at this point, if you want to read this, I would stop. Spoilers ahead. He's fighting, and he dies. So does Pochita. They die, they dismember him, and they throw him away. And in the dumpster, all like sprawled out, him and the devil together, he starts having a dream, starts having a memory. Pochita comes up to him and he says, let's make a deal. And this is the part that I did not discuss. Devils can make contracts and deals with people, and both are inclined to stay committed to that deal. So the devil gives a piece of its power to another person in turn for something else. And this can be anything. And so the devil Pochita forces a contract almost and says, I want you to show me your dream. And a part of the contract is I will make myself a part of you. And so Pochita attaches itself and becomes Denji's heart. And Denji kind of starts to heal, come back, and he turns into Chainsaw Man. He has a little string on his chest, and he pulls it, and boom, out of his head, chainsaw, arms, chainsaw, all that. Now he's got powers. And then we are introduced to Makima, who comes in, and she's a part of this devil hunting agency. And what they do is they make contracts with devils, and they get people who have made contracts with devils, and they use them to fight against the other devils and take them over. And so we are introduced to Aki and Power and Makima. So Makima is like head boss. Then we've got Power and Aki, who are like his roommates. That's his team. Those are the people that he works with. And so they're all together. They start living together. And I'm going to start speeding up a little bit, both for time constraints and also because the story is 97 chapters. That first part, it's long. So they start living together. And they introduce this overwhelming threat of the Gun Devil. The Gun Devil, evil, has killed way too many people. Evil person. And that is Aki's like nemesis. And so he's really gunning to get it. He wants to get rid of him. And so they go into the Rize arc, which is kind of that next step after, they introduce the characters, they hunt a couple devils together. They get into the Rize arc. This is when there's emotion and stuff. And we're also learning of Denji's motive, which, as a teenager, he wants boobs, he wants to have sex, he wants to kiss people. He's a teenager. But they use how naive he is to get him to work. That's how they motivate him. And so Rize comes in, not a part of this corporation, completely separate, and she grabs his heart, pulls him in, and he's sucked in. And turns out she is the Bomb Devil. And she offers him to either run away with her or she's going to fight back. She fights back. And she leaves. Basically, the fight goes on until neither side wins and she leaves. So then we get to this kind of weird period where they're hunting and he starts to see his roommates as his family. Or like the people he's with, that's his family. That's who he cares about. And one day, Aki was out on a mission. He's with Power. Someone knocks on the door. And he smells. He says, oh, it's Aki. But they're knocking. Why isn't he coming in? He goes to the door, opens it, and the Gun Devil is there, attached to Aki. And this is when the story takes a dark turn. And they start fighting. They're fighting and fighting. And Aki had become the exact thing that he was trying to kill. And in the end, Denji kills him so that he stops killing civilians and doesn't kill Power, who is also his roommate. So in his eyes, he had just lost another member of his family. That is someone, like, he viewed them as family. He cared about them, and he just had to kill him. Moves on to, going on, kind of working past that trauma. And Makima takes him in, and he starts living with her, and she's manipulating him and tricking him. And then someone knocks on the door, and it's his birthday. And she tells him to open it. And he opens it, and it's Power. She has a cake. And she kills her on the spot. And she admits that she was doing this to basically take everything that Denji was, put him at a height, and completely crumble him and destroy him. he becomes numb. He doesn't understand what to do, and he broke his contract. To be happy and to pursue his dream, contract was broken. And Makima now had full control over the Chainsaw Devil. And I'm on my last bit here, so I'm going to try and get what I can. She does that. Why the Chainsaw Devil? Chainsaw Devil is the strongest one in the universe. And basically anything he eats no longer exists. World War II doesn't exist. The Nazis don't exist. Holocaust doesn't exist. The nuclear bomb does not exist because he ate those devils. They cease to exist from that world. So after trying to control him, he fights back and he kills her. And now he's left alone. But he's presented a kid that he is told to look after. And that becomes the one thing to keep him going. So that is Chainsaw Man summarized by Tatsuki Fujimoto, December 2018. Thank you for listening. Sorry for going just a bit over the time limit. There was a lot of context and story to give. Thank you. Bye.